and welcome to another episode of the Sharp Side of Paranormal. I am your host, Cody. It's been a while since I've done an episode. It's been actually, I think, almost 2 months now since I've done an episode, just because things were happening and decided to take a little bit of a break. Rescheduled a lot of my guests for now, um, and and that's who we're going to have tonight. Yeah. So it's November. It is November 1st. I can't believe it is already November and Halloween is over. I'm sad. Um, Good thing is I had two kids trick or treating, which means as a parent, I get 10% of their candy. It is the dad tax. It happens. It is mine. So, not that I need any candy. I just go to the gas station. Yeah, Speedway's got Starburst on sale for $1. Woohoo! No, anyway, that means since it is November 1st, we are just a little over a month away from my birthday. Yay! And my special investigation at Madison Seminary. Yay! That's going to be fun. There's going to be some paranormal investigators that are going to go there with me. And we're going to do some paranormal challenges. It's going to be fun. I have never been there before, so definitely excited about that. Next week, we're going to have Beyond the Badge. It is a first responder paranormal group. So, being a former first responder, EMT, and firefighter, I am very excited about that. But tonight, we have something extremely exciting. We have Spooky Japan podcast, Irene and Amanda. And funny story about Amanda, we actually went to the same high school. Did not know each other when we went to high school. I only went to that school my senior year, but we went to the same high school, which is kind of crazy. So she's actually from my hometown. So I will bring Amanda and Irene onto the stream, and we can learn about Japan.
Yeah, it was so crazy when we found that out because I started mentioning things from my hometown. As you said, we both come from the same hometown. Graduated different years because everyone's like, "How did you not recognize or know each other?" I'm like, we graduated different years, so that's how we didn't really know each other in a small town. But when I started mentioning places in town that you would only kind of know if you lived there, he knew. I'm like, "Yep,
Yeah. Now you graduated what? 07?
yeah,
So the year before me. So we like didn't actually go to school together because
yeah."
you had already graduated when I actually went there. But it's, crazy. But like being from Coldwater, we have a little bit of a special story that became the beginning of a horror film.
I tell people about this. I was just recently talking about that. The Jeepers Creepers happened in not Battle Creek, sorry, Bronson, Michigan, which is the town literally right next to our hometown of Coldwater. It was an older couple who was driving down the road. They saw what looked like the Jeepers Creepers, what the monster, whatever you want to call it, flying above them into what at the time was a schoolhouse.
Yeah. So the woman that was murdered, Marilyn Depew, was my dad's high school guidance counselor.
Really?
Yeah, my parents graduated from Coldwater High School. So, yeah.
I have friends who said that they can see the the building, the original Jeepers Creepers building. Obviously, what's based off of. They can. Some of them say I live down the road. Others said, yeah, I can still see it from my house. So I asked them. I'm like, I'm curious. They said they never see people go there. They probably park somewhere at night and go there. I asked, do you know what happened to the building? I'm curious. So if I ever bring it up, I can say this is what the building is. They said nowadays that building is now owned by the Amish. They did. It was after the Amish took it over, it was a pig barn. But unfortunately now they say it went from pig barn to they had to board it up. It looks like there's graffiti on it. So unfortunately, this is what I tell people. People in paranormal cannot have nice things because people go there, break in, even on private property and ruin it, vandalize it. So unfortunately now they had to move their pigs and board it up.
So I was actually at the building last year. So the photo you see in the corner, the Sharp Side of Paranormal, that photo was actually taken in front of the school.
That's crazy.
It is still standing.
Yeah, it's still there.
There was an arson there about 6 or 7 years ago. They were storing hay inside, and they lit it. Somebody lit it on fire. I would actually like to buy the property and like fix it up, but that's neither here nor there. But
You
yeah,
have to fence it off because people are still, unfortunately, ruining that for other people. From what, like I said, from what I heard now, I talked to them recently. They said now there's a bunch of graffiti on it. And that just makes me sad.
yeah, it's just. But let's be honest. What is there to do in Coldwater, Michigan?
There's nothing.
There's in the summertime you can go swimming in the lakes and fishing and boating and all that stuff, but in the wintertime, it's snowmobiling and ice fishing.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing. I don't know. Anyway, let's not talk about Michigan. We're going to talk about Japan because you both in Japan. So
yes, I'm in Nagasaki, which is in the bottom of the island. Irene's in Tokyo, which is more in the middle. I'm also more on the left side of the island. She's also in the very right. Irene is unfortunately right now, as she was saying before, she's not feeling the best. She's coughing all night. It is basically what we call second allergy season because things bloom here in the fall as well. So everyone's coughing and sneezing. Unfortunately, Irene's been up all night. That's why she doesn't look good or sound good, guys. She's trying.
we'll let Amanda do all the talking, or most of the talking.
Well, I was like, I'm where I am. I'm like, Irene, you can come in at any time. I just know you're just like you're.
I know it's. We got spoiled. We had two really nice days in a row. It was like 80 degrees, and now it's in the 40s. So, yeah. And I live in Indiana now, so.
Oh.
But so spooky Japan. So let's get started. Do you see a different type of haunting in Japan?
I would definitely say so, especially. I mean, Irene's seen ghosts in Canada, so Irene, you worked in a haunted hotel. If you want to say how that was.
Yeah, the basement was the gift shop that I worked in, and we sold sweaters and more like salmon jerky, and it was really weird because when you work in the basement, you could talk to housekeeping as they were cleaning up at nighttime. I worked from 3 o'clock to 11 o'clock at night, and stuff happens. Like the lights would go out, and the elevator would go stop at different floors where you're not supposed to go to. It was just kind of weird and creepy. There's a lot of cold spots. Um, really not unsettling feeling, but the ghosts, the spirits, they were not unfriendly. They were very friendly, but they would, I don't know, they would do a lot of weird things, and all of a sudden you find no power, and so you're sitting in the in your store with the dark room, and you're going, okay, what am I gonna do? Since there's no power, we couldn't get any dinner, so they were making sandwiches for everybody. So we had sandwiches. We were having sandwiches for supper. It was just kind of like, I don't know, kind of crazy. And the old part of the hotel was worse because the floors that were supposed to be used for this family who used to live there um was boarded up, and you can't find the rooms anymore because it was supposed to be really creepy haunted. And some of the other rooms in the old part, the furniture would spin around in the room, and the housekeeper refused to clean the room up, so they asked the guys to clean the room up. It was just kind of like really freaky, creepy uh feelings that went on there. And guess what? right behind of it is the Bull Falls. So you have the waterfalls behind it. So you get the energy from there, and then the hotels landed on the top of the mountain. So we had to walk the mountain to get the hotel. It was the kind of it was fun in a way, but it kind of like scared the rest of the people. I don't know if I would ever stay there as a guest. The old part of the hotel was the worst part, but the new part, nobody found it anything bad. But I don't know if I'd ever go back there and stay there as a guest. It's just some of the stuff that went on there was kind of like really freaky uh scenes and crazy stuff that went on there. I don't know. I haven't been back there for a long time, so we'll see what happens.
So was that your first experience with the paranormal? Or did
No,
you have previous experiences before
I
that?
did. I
Okay.
went to Pearl Harbor and I nearly got yanked in the water, but force unseen. I don't know. I was looking at the ship in the water, and I felt somebody grabbing my neck and pulling me in there. And I said, "Nah, not doing that." But I was in a really creepy trance. I didn't know what happened, and there was there was a officer that was looking at me, looking at me sideways. He said, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, look at my face, and I had to shake my head and come out of there. I said, "Mom, something happened." He goes, "I know." Like my my family is a little bit different when it comes to paranormal. My mom was the empath, so she could see things, and we all went to church, yeah, but we were all my mom was very open about things like that, so she never condoned it. So it was okay for you to see things and feel things. It didn't bother her. She just didn't talk about it a lot. So, um, right now, my whole family's into paranormal, so except for my youngest daughter. But my son, my all my two kids are all clairvoyant empaths.
So I wasn't gonna bring it up, but because you brought up Pearl Harbor,
Mm-hmm.
living in Japan, having Nagasaki and Hiroshima,
Mm-hmm.
what is the atmosphere like for people that are sensitive to the spirits? Do, do you,
Oh, they make you sick. They make you know that you know. They're not. They're kind of vengeance. They're vengeful in a way because if you feel something, they make you really ill when you go to those places. In fact, I got sick twice. And if you have anything painful on your body, they'll make it more painful. And you can have all the stones that you have with you. You can have all the protection with you. It doesn't matter. They'll make you not feel well.
It's just going into and a lot of people has told me this, just going into the museums about it
Hmm.
here
Yeah.
will make you feel violently ill.
Yep. And I
Like
got
your stomach,
violently ill too.
yeah,
Went to
like
that
your
museum.
stomach just hurts so bad going in there
Hmm.
that you can't take it.
No. And I wound up going to the bathroom all afternoon. That's for 3 hours straight. I had to lay down on the benches there, and I said, "Are we finished yet? Can we go?" Finally, we left. I said, "Ooh," and when we left, I said, "It's hot. Let's get some ice cream." Like you just your mind just changes and your body just changes as soon as you leave there. You're better, but when you go in there, it's the most worst feeling you ever had. If you're not,
Yeah.
even if you're grounded, it doesn't matter.
that's one of those things that like I've always wanted to go to like a battlefield or something like that, but
Hmm.
I haven't investigated at one yet.
Hmm.
Because like people go to Gettysburg. Gettysburg is a
Hmm.
big one. Um,
Hmm.
I have yet to go to Gettysburg.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know how I would react because everywhere that I go that is haunted,
Mm-hmm.
spirits always mess with me in one way or
Yeah.
another. They're always
Yeah.
messing with me, and it sometimes it's frustrating because it's
Mm-hmm.
like I'm just trying to get your story, and you guys
Yeah.
want to play games with me, but
Yeah.
at least they're communicating. I guess I
N-
should.
It would probably.
Nagas.
I don't think it. I think it'd be worse for you here, especially
Yeah.
the battlefields or anything, just because, especially like the older ghosts tend to not like Americans. We're
Yeah.
outsiders, especially even like
Yeah.
especially with them going to war with the U.S. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of those ghosts tend not to like us Americans. So I would definitely be.
Nagasaki had part two haunted stuff because Nagasaki was the first place where the um Portuguese, Spanish, Dutch ship came to Nagasaki, and they brought their food. They wanted to trade with Japan because Japan had silk and stuff like that. But they also brought the priests with them. And when the samurai were ruling most of Japan and Nagasaki, um, they taught Christianity, right? So when they taught Christianity, the samurai got word of it because we're mostly of a Buddhist country, right? And Christianity was unheard of. And what happened was that you want to learn Christianity and everything about Jesus Christ, you will die like Jesus Christ. So they crucified them to the cross. The priests and the followers on a big, huge hill in Nagasaki. You can go there. You can visit there. They have certain plaques of with um like a it looks like a person praying like this. So yeah, it was a lot of really unseeable things that happened, and the femur bones of the priests are held in the church in a Catholic church in Nagasaki now. So they would let the bodies rot on the cross.
That's disturbing. It's
And that happened in Kyoto too, in a particular hill. You can't go in there. In fact, it's so haunted. It's pretty bad that nobody's allowed to go in there anymore. And they have statues of Mother Mary and Jesus Christ they put in there, but the statues bleed blood from the eyes and from the hands now.
Did you say they bleed?
Yeah,
That's like straight out of a horror film.
yeah.
There's a lot of
So
things here straight out of a horror film.
yeah, yeah.
We have
I'm
a doll that we feel like should be made into a horror movie up in the northern part of Japan.
Mhm.
Her name is Okiku. She's named after the little girl who owned her.
Mhm.
Back over 100 years ago, her 17-year-old brother bought it and gave it to her as a gift. She's 2-year-old, so she first 2-year-olds with the doll.
Mhm.
She loved her name was Okiku. She
Mhm.
loved that doll.
Mhm.
It became her best friend. She took it everywhere. She treated it just like a best friend until she got sick. They said either yellow fever or malaria. I think Irene, you said probably malaria given the time and location.
Yeah, and plus, there was no medication back then, right? So you're talking like Victorian era around that area, right? So she got really sick, and there was nothing they could do for her. So go ahead.
Unfortunately, she died. Not it was a tragic because she died. She suffocated to death because she got with her illness, and she died holding that doll. And they said it's just like she was scared. There's just not pleasant death.
Mhm.
Back then, the laws said that they wanted to bury her doll with her, but back then the law says that they couldn't. So here in Japan, it is very common that Japanese households, when they have a loved one pass, they build a shrine in their house dedicated to that person.
Mhm.
They put her doll in there. Now, what they want to say, what should be noted about the doll is when the brother first bought the doll, it had a shoulder-length bob haircut. And then around like her birthday and the day she died, they would notice a lot more paranormal activity, like knocking on the walls, things being moved, hearing footsteps running down the hall. And then one day they opened the straw and they noticed it was no longer shoulder length, it was the hair grew to the middle of her back.
Mhm.
So 20 years go by and the family was just like, the family was moving, but they were superstitious. They're just like, if we take this doll far away from its home, it might lose its magic. So they went to a Buddhist temple and they talked to the monks, and they said, "Hey, here's the thing. We're afraid to move this doll with us. We're afraid it's gonna lose its magic." Well, the monks have already heard many stories about this doll, so they were excited. They took the doll. They took care of her, and the
Mhm.
monks will even say to this day, the hair still grows, and she'll visit them. She visits people in their dreams. She'll occasionally visit them and tell them like what she wants. Some of it is, hey, I need my hair trimmed. So, they go trim her hair. Other than that, I'm not quite sure what she does in their dreams. They just say this doll has the ability to visit you in your dreams. And they say now, with it being almost 100 years later, I'm seeing, especially it's more news over here than it is over in America, because people have tried looking it up, and some people can find them, some people can't. But there's pictures now where because it's made of porcelain. The doll's face is made of porcelain head. But for some odd reason, now the doll's mouth is starting to slowly open,
Mhm.
and they said they're looking into the doll's mouth, and they say, at first they saw nothing, but now they keep looking in there, and they say what looks like children's teeth coming through what would be the doll's, I guess, gums. So now this thing
Okay.
is developing children's teeth, and it's
Don't
literally
forget the
coming through.
fingernails.
Yeah, it's literally coming through what, like I said, what would be the dolls, I guess, porcelain gums or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I am looking at a picture of said doll right now, and that is a thing of nightmares.
Yeah, that's what people say.
I'm not trying to be like funny or anything, but seriously, and
Yeah, we've heard that because
uh,
if
what
you can find a picture, like I said, I mean, the original older pictures of the doll's mouth is closed, but now there's
Mhm.
starting to be more pictures of the doll's mouth slightly open,
Yeah.
and they
yeah,
can't explain that.
I'm looking at this. Yeah, I, why has this first off, why is the first I'm hearing of this story? And two, why isn't this a horror film yet?
That's what I was saying. That's just like I don't understand because a lot of people are like, well, you have Chucky and you have Annabelle. And I don't think any doll movie is going to be better than that. And I'm like, I don't know. This is a doll that they say can visit you in its visit you in your dreams. Okay, so think of
Yeah.
like basically Nightmare of Elm Street with a doll.
Mhm. Yeah.
Just
There's
if you
another
can get
thing.
away, she sees you in your nightmares.
There's another thing. You in Japan. There's a kind of like rule of thumb. I don't know if it's not written, but you're not allowed to buy a doll bigger than your child because it will take over the child.
This
Yeah.
is the doll that we're talking
Yeah,
about.
see, its mouth is now slightly open. The older pictures, the mouth is completely closed. Because
Yeah.
I've seen pictures of it. A lot of them were
Yeah.
closed.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah.
Can I zoom in? Let me zoom in.
Huh?
Of course.
When I see that picture of that doll, it doesn't bother me. I could talk to it. It would sometimes it would say, "I'm sad because I'm not alive anymore." That's what I'm hearing, the voice from the doll. So yeah.
That
See, it's now its mouth is. And some people say you can kind of see some of the teeth. They look pointed.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
right here. Where
Yeah.
you can see pointed teeth.
Yeah. And when dolls are made in Japan, their mouths are closed, and they
Yeah.
just have red lips on the mouths, but they don't have. They're not allowed to. They don't. When they make dolls in Japan, even to this day, their mouths are always closed with red lips.
That's why they said they don't understand how this thing
Yeah.
is slowly starting to open its mouth, or even why it's developing teeth. They're like, first of all, the hair growing was weird, but now it's opening its mouth and developing teeth.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No. So, Amanda, so what are your experiences with the paranormal? Like, first, let's what got you into the paranormal, and then what have been your experiences in Japan in the paranormal?
See, I always grew up a little bit sensitive to the other side. However, me growing up in the town that we grew up in, and I pointed out, I told you which church it was, but my dad was a minister, so unfortunately, I mean, of course Christianity believes everything is a demon, so unfortunately, a lot of the Christians assume because you heard or saw or even sensed spirits that you did something to get possessed by a demon, or you have a demon attachment, or you must be doing something to attract demons, or you must be doing witchcraft. And I always tell them, I always tell people, the closest thing I knew at the time to witchcraft was the Hocus Pocus movies. And I was like, honestly, the only reason why I was able to watch the Hocus Pocus movies is because it was Disney. Other than that, I'm like, I'm not doing the Hocus Pocus stuff, okay? It's not possible for me to do the Hocus Pocus stuff. So I kind of had to, shut that part out for a while. But then obviously, being sensitive, it always kind of stays with you regardless. It eventually does come out one way or another. So then obviously I moved some places around the United States, and I started seeing things or hearing things more, especially in Montana. Montana is just different spirit wise, I think, United States. And I don't know. There's always theories there. There's a lot of I met other people into the paranormal there. There's always theories on that though. But obviously, then I eventually I got into the paranormal, started doing investigations, especially around in the North Carolina area. I started doing more investigations. When I came here to Japan, my first thought was I was doing investigations in the United States. I'm going to do it here. I'm going to get involved in the paranormal community. Then I was sad to realize there's not a paranormal community over here. There's not any teams over here. There's not any places you could book to investigate over here. The closest thing you're going to get to a paranormal community in Japan is Irene. Irene laughs because she knows it's true. Because I guess that's one of the first things I asked her when I met her. I was just like, "Why can't I find teams or any other people in a paranormal community?" And she's like, "Because there's not any. I was alone over here. Okay."
It's just me.
It's just me. I am the paranormal community. Congratulations, you found it.
So how? So there's not much drama. Okay, that's good. That's good. So how did you guys meet?
Social media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I always looked for anything Paranormal Japan related, and that's how I eventually found Irene. And Irene explained to me, "Look all you want. Good luck. I've been searching too."
I thought it was gonna be some like really cool. No, it's just social media.
I mean, it's not big, but as someone else told me who wrote books on urban legends, oddly enough, I know over in the United States we consider urban legends part of the paranormal community. Over here, I think they consider it more storytelling, because we did try to reach out to the people who are locals here who write books or whatever about the urban legends, which there are thousands over here in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
They wrote books or whatever on urban legends. They don't even finding ghosts or doing anything with spirits. They don't do anything ghost related other than telling the urban legend. I think they consider it more storytelling. So they're like, nah, I don't want anything to do with what you guys do.
No.
But one
Like,
of them did tell me that Japan is more superstitious than religious. That's why people in
mhm,
Japan don't mess with spirits. And that's one
mm-mm,
thing I will tell people is it's kind of refreshing over here in a way that we don't have people claiming to be demonologists.
no.
What? You mean the little certificate I got that says I'm a demonologist means I'm not a demonologist? What?
Yeah.
Forget about the word paranormal investigator too, because it don't exist here.
Now here's the thing. Can I be considered a demonologist because I'm married to a demon? Does that work? Does that work? I mean, it's somewhat of an expert at demons.
We had a guest that he said that he was asked, "Have you ever seen a demon?" He said, "Yeah, my ex-wife." Does that count?
You know what's funny is if you ask my ex-wife, I'm the demon. No, uh, no, it's not that bad. No, I actually, my ex-wife, like when we were married and stuff, like she didn't really talk much about the paranormal, but now that we're divorced and I'm in the paranormal, she talks about the paranormal. So it's like
Oh.
just because our son's into the paranormal. So,
Mm.
uh-oh. What's up? Hello. Other side paranormal Kentucky. We are talking to
Mm.
two people that are currently in Japan. And we're talking about a spooky doll and how there's really no paranormal community you're looking at the paranormal community in Japan. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Just us.
now is it just because it's taboo?
It's more taboo, but I also think like no one over here knows how to handle a spirit. Like, unfortunately, if something is considered haunted, it's boarded up. You can't
Yeah.
really, so no one can go in. I think it's more for if this spirit gets angry, I don't know what to do. And I kind of realized that a lot their whole approach to an angry spirit is we're going to build a shrine dedicated
Mm-hmm.
to the spirit, hoping it
Yeah.
appeases it and it stops wreaking havoc. At least,
Yeah. Oh, it still creates friggin' havoc no matter what they do, because you have a lot of sword fighting, you have a lot of killing, you have a lot of deaths. So yeah, the shrine that I go to, they found so many. They just uncovered on the sand part near the beach where the Pacific Ocean is. They found a whole bunch of bones, like their skulls and their skeletal remains. Some of them have no heads, some of them have heads. But yeah, they found a whole bunch of samurai warriors on the beach. So
Was it
that
just
was just uncovered recently, and that beach is pretty haunted. So if you take a selfie on that beach, you might find a hand come up. You might find a body. You might find a head. You might find a spirit. They're not gonna do anything to you. They just want you to know, hey, I'm here.
I need to book a vacation to Japan?
shadow figures the exact same way here.
Yeah.
That's one thing I tell people is like, what's your first experience paranormal wise in Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
shadow figures, they're
Yeah.
different here. Usually
Yeah.
in America, shadow figures, if you see them, they're like in and out, or you caught it on a in a
Mm-hmm.
picture, or they dart real fast. Here in Japan, they have no problem with standing and staring at you.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
First
Cool.
time that happened, I thought I was losing my mind. I'm like, why am I? Is this real? Because it was literally a shadow person, clear
Remember,
as
you called
day.
me too. You called me. You even
Well, it's
messaged me.
weird. I thought I was losing my mind. Luckily, I had my dog with me, and
Mm-hmm.
my dog was reacting at the time as she saw a person. So I'm like, all right, I'm not losing it. My dog sees this thing,
Yeah.
so it's there. And a lot of people are like, well, how come you don't take these pictures and post them or talk to it? I'm like, because it tells me it does not want me to.
Mm-mm.
Some of them have even like appeared in my apartment to be like, yo, This is what happens when you cross our boundaries. I'm like, I wasn't going to begin with. You don't have to warn me. I get it. I'm not going to try and fight the paranormal. 'Cause I'm probably going to lose.
No.
You tell me what your boundary is. I'm not going to cross it and upset you. That would not be smart in my
No.
side. It just wouldn't.
On her side is totally different than my side.
Yeah, that's
Her
why I tell
side
people it's so weird.
Yeah.
My
Her
side is
more
different than
sad.
hers.
Yeah.
And then the North has their own thing going on, especially like spooky dolls and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her side is more like tragic deaths. My side is like unaliving yourself.
So you're not. So you're in Tokyo, right? So
Mm.
you're not too far from the suicide forest,
Oh, that's due north.
is it?
Yeah. There's one road. There's one highway. Of course, you pay the tolls, right? You go from the highway, you go to the Suicide Waterfall, then you go to Nico Shrine, where they have a whole bunch of samurai warriors battled out and died. And that's also haunted. In fact, I got affected by that one. I got sick on that one. And then you go straight down, you hit Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji is also haunted. And underneath that is the Suicide Forest. And underneath that, you got the five dead lakes there. What's called Fujigoko. And that's also creepy. Like, ugh,
When
yeah,
she
don't want to
says
go there.
dead lake, she means they're completely black.
Yeah. And then you go
What?
keep on going north, you hit Japan seaside, which is Niigata Prefecture, where they had the huge earthquakes. So yeah, that's also haunted too. So
So the
it's
weird
just
thing with the suicide forest is there is no birds, there's no insects, there's no snakes, there's nothing.
mm-mm,
It's completely dead quiet from nature.
mm-hmm. I want to go there next year.
But the weird thing is, because obviously, and I tell people, obviously, I get a lot of the videos being here from the people here. There is people who post who live more close to it, where they could see it almost daily. They say there's a part of the forest that's the complete opposite, where they hike almost daily if they can, because they said it's the opposite feeling. It's peaceful, it's serene. They say it's one of the most serene hikes they could ever take. And they said the locals know if you walk this path, you see a fork in the road, you go to the right because that stays in a part of the forest you want to be in. You go to the left, that starts going into what they call the bad part of the forest. So
Oh,
it's definitely like a yin and yang forest, basically, where
kind of
not
like
all of it is part of that forest that has that reputation.
so kind of like the forest in Beauty and the Beast, where he takes the
Mhm.
wrong way, and it's the
Yeah,
spooky
But
side.
that's
did
because I was
they
watching
say that?
videos. A lot of people say that, like, yeah, there is that part of the forest, but there's this part over here where it's not. You're okay.
But did you also say that some people stay in the hotel near the forest and then they see things
Yeah,
that they're
there's
not
been
supposed
ghost
to see?
stories from people who made them believers who they
Yeah.
might not have visited the forest, but they could still see like Mount Fuji. They get like a hotel room they can see Mount Fuji from, and the forest
Mm-hmm.
is right underneath Mount Fuji.
Mm-hmm.
And they said like they've had ghosts on their balcony. Some people said that they've woken up to a ghost pounding on their window, demanding to be let in.
Yeah. That's a big no-no. You never let a ghost in your room, no matter what you do. It's just a no-no.
Yeah, but they said like stuff like that obviously makes a lot of skeptics believers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll agree with that because I believed in the paranormal, but I wasn't like 100% into it. And my
Mm-hmm.
first ever paranormal investigation made me a believer in the
Yep.
paranormal, and here I am, two years later. I've only been doing it for 2 years, and I don't know anything.
One thing about suicide spirits, I was taught you never interact with them. You never talk to them. You don't listen to them because they want to take you with them here. That's how it's like here. Like I had the same feeling when I lived in a particular condominium. 17 people unalived themselves by jumping off the building, and afterwards I started hearing voices saying, "You should die too. You should die with me. Like you should also die." And I said, "No, I'm not doing that." But yeah, but they want to take you with them. So I pretended I don't hear anything until I moved to this house. I pretended I had nothing to do with the paranormal, even though I could hear them, but I just ignored them.
Thank you. So
Yeah, it's really hard to ignore it, especially when it's screaming in your ears, right? But yeah, when I moved here, everything got better, and I started coming back into it, the paranormal again. So yeah, you have to be careful of what you do, how you react, how you sleep, how anything you do, and because they'll come at 2 o'clock in the morning, they'll bug you. And then I had a one time I was paralyzed because I had a spirit touch my back in the other place, and I thought it was going to take me with them because I couldn't breathe, I couldn't speak. I was like, it was so scary. And I woke up my son who was sleeping in the next room with me because he couldn't sleep in his room either because his room had a portal. And he said, and he woke up and he said, "I know, I saw it." I said, "Oh shit." I was doing that. Like, what are we gonna do? My husband said, "Okay, that's it, we're moving." So we picked up and we left. And I tried to reach out to every paranormal team in the United States. Good luck. And I tried to reach out to a church in Japan, my church that I went to. Yeah, nothing happened. So good luck. You're on your own if this happens to you. So guess what? We picked up everything. Actually, not everything, because I left a lot of stuff because I didn't want to bring it with me in this house because I didn't want to haunt this house. So I left 50% of it. I took what I needed and I left. I packed up and I left. And yeah, we moved out.
Don't you
Yeah.
don't you love that you're not getting the how like two different cultures like America? If you go to a church saying, "Hey, you're I'm having this happen," they're like, "Okay," so they'll do, they'll try to help you. But like in Japan, they're just like, "Better luck next time," and then
Yeah.
just
at the very most, they might send you a little sea salt packet to kind of, here you go, cleanse your house, and it's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, they
So.
don't use sage here. I can't even find sage if I really wanted to here. I had to order off like American Amazon if I wanted it. They use, I believe you said what, Irene? Sea salt,
Mm-hmm.
either
Yeah.
black salt or sea salt.
It's sea salt.
Yeah,
now are you permanently in Japan or
I'm
you
only here. No, I've been here for a couple of years, like a year or so more.
okay? Military?
What's that? Yeah, yeah. I have more tragic spirits here than Irene, just because I'm not too far from either. Obviously, I'm closer to Nagasaki bombing site, but then just a little bit up north of me is Hiroshima bombing
Mm-hmm.
site. But I also have the military outside my window, and even out on my balcony. You can see the military, the bay where the military base is. So we have a lot more tragic ghosts compared to Irene, which has more of the suicidal ones.
Yeah.
And a lot of people wonder why is there so many suicidal ghosts, and it's more of a Buddhist belief that if you're not happy in this life, you can keep it social media friendly. You can unalive yourself
Mm-hmm.
and start again in the next life.
Yeah.
So that's why she has more of those.
Yeah. And a lot of them bug you a lot. And you don't have to see anything haunted, right? Even Amanda will tell you, just go outside your front door. There's something haunted. Like it doesn't matter where you go. Like you go left, you go right, you see something haunted. Not too far away from where I live. Um, there's a convenience store. There's a 7-Eleven store. A long time ago, a guy got murdered, and his spirit turned dark, and he tried to hurt people who crossed the street. Unfortunately, my husband got hit by a car, the same thing that came out that did that. I know I am, sure. I know I'm right. And in fact, this previous summer, a, a man on a bicycle got hit by a car. He passed away, and after the ambulance went away, I decided to take a couple pictures. And I said, I could see him saying, he was looking at me, he goes, ha ha ha, you can't do anything to me. I said, no, I wouldn't want to do anything to you, and you can't do anything to me either. He looked at me, goes, you want to make a bet? I said, yeah, try me. I'm stronger than you. And it was just really weird because it was a really dark spirit, no eyes, just like no body, no nothing. It was like a mass, and he would make your hair on your back crawl because he would stare at you, and when he comes out, he creates car accidents, or something happens. Unfortunately, my husband got better, but he was laid up for a month, and he was able to go back to work in December, but it was so bad, like. And apparently before that there was a couple of car accidents before that, I know for sure, because I could feel it, I could see it. And yeah, and I asked my friend in Australia, who is also a clairvoyant, we trying to kind of like calm him down so he doesn't create them anymore. But the area he used to pace up and down near the underneath the lamppost. They removed the lamppost, and they cleared up the area, so there's no longer farmland anymore. But yeah, I still remember that clear in my head even to this day. And I still look at the lamp where he used to pace up and down, and there's a bus stop right where he paced. And I always hated using that bus stop to go anywhere because it he it still creeps me out in that area, and it's not too far away from where I live. It's right across the street from where I live.
Uh, How do you have so much so close to you?
I didn't know he was there.
I think the whole all of Japan does is because of how much older of a country it is. A lot of history,
But you
especially
don't
with the
know.
samurai warriors.
Yeah, you don't know. That's why you need a clairvoyant when you buy something. When you buy
But
a
as I
house.
tell Irene, unfortunately here, even there is other clairvoyants, they're not public. Irene's not even public.
No, I
Only
don't.
like two or three people in her actual real life, not social media. Because a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'm real." I'm like, "No, I'm in real life here in Japan."
Yeah,
That know about what she does.
yeah. There's only my doctor, my neurologist only knows that I'm a clairvoyant, and he knows what I do. And I do mostly residentials in America. I don't do a lot in Japan because it's just like you gotta pick and choose what you do here. You gotta pick and choose which place you want to go to because one, you could be dangerous. Two, you could be dead the next day. So you just don't want to touch anything that you don't want to go to, right? So you gotta be really careful what you want to see and what you want to investigate because you want to live the next day, right? So you just have to be kind of like vigilant. And yeah, I went to the biggest cemetery in Tokyo, and I came home with a couple of guests, and I said, I'm not doing that anymore. So even though I grounded myself, I did everything. I was very polite, and I said, okay, I'm gonna come here and just talk to you guys. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to harm you. I'm just gonna be very, very, very nice about it, and very, very, yeah, respectful. And they came home with us. So, yeah, not gonna go back there again. Just for the fact that we got guests tagging along with us, and my son got really mad at me too for doing that. But yeah, He only got mad for a couple of seconds. I said, just a second, man. I might want to cross him over. He goes, no, we're getting rid of him. I said, okay, I'm not going to argue. Okay, fine. And I still thought, I would have loved to cross them over instead of getting rid of them. So, not going to argue.
No, that makes sense. I've only had one spirit follow me home, and
Mhm.
I did a cleanse, and
Mhm.
I felt a lot better afterwards. Because it I was very angry, and
Mhm.
it was draining me. I felt sick, and
Mhm.
did a cleanse, and grounded myself. Had my wife you know hit me with some sage, and I felt a lot better. But it still creeps me out knowing that something can follow me home, and I guess that's my wife's, like, um I guess fear is that I'm gonna bring something home. I don't know.
Mhm. I wasn't sick and I wasn't feeling bad. I was feeling pretty good. But I guess they wanted help. And I had one spirit in the cemetery say, I want you to stay with me, which means I want you to die and stay in the cemetery with them. And I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. So, yeah.
So, Amanda, uh, what is, because we've already heard some of Irene's craziest um, experiences. What would your craziest experience be?
Besides seeing shadow figures stare at me, yeah.
Mm.
There's also here. I was walking my dog, and I was like, it's a very nice evening. It's not as hot. And I was like, I'm gonna go for an extra long walk. I decided against it because I heard a scream coming from the bay. It was a woman's scream. You could tell it was a woman's scream, but didn't quite sound
Mhm.
human. So I was like, all right, this is clearly a warning. I'm gonna go back up. But Irene, I was just like, yep, there is a woman screaming out there in the bay.
Mhm.
And Irene's like, yeah, it was a woman who she was a Japanese local. She was dating someone this was a while ago. She was
Mhm.
dating someone in the military. She got
Mhm.
pregnant. She was happy. He wasn't. He unalived her and he threw her body in that bay. So now she kind of haunts it.
Mhm. Instead of getting a divorce, it's a long time ago. Instead of getting a divorce and being ridiculed for being divorced, the opposite person, you throw them in the well, you throw them in the water, you did anything to get rid of them so you don't have to worry about being divorced.
There's a lot of ghost stories here, and Irene
Mhm.
can even tell you that there's even one from her son's school. There's a lot of ghost stories that happen from women being thrown in wells. I hate to be like, oh yeah, no, that's just the grudge making, no,
Yeah,
7 days, sorry.
yeah,
The ring making stuff up. That is unfortunately accurate, is a lot of them do.
yeah,
A lot of ghost stories here are women being thrown into wells.
yeah.
Taylor, if you're watching or listening, please don't throw me into a well. Thank you.
There's a
Uh,
well in the middle of my son's gymnasium in his high school, and they boarded it up before it was a farmland. They boarded it up, and when they made the school, they opened up the well, and guess what? She's in the middle of the gymnasium, and she haunts the whole school.
cool, cool, yeah.
I found her. She was taunting a guy. I told her not to do this. She goes, "Why not?" I said, "I'm having fun." I said, "No, you don't. I'll get rid of you if you do that." She goes, "Then you're not gonna do that." I said, "Oh yes, I will." She goes, "Okay." She quit taunting them. But yeah, my son was going in the bathroom. She went knock, 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 and my son said, "Okay, I'm done." He goes, he came running home. He said, "Did you know my school's haunted?" I go, "Yeah, I kind of knew your school was haunted. Why did you tell me?" I said, "Well, like I was like this, I couldn't tell you." He goes, "Yeah, you should have told me." I said, "Well," I go, "what happened?" He goes, "I was doing number two in the bathroom, and then she went knock. Somebody knocked on my small door, and he ran out there like you battered me." I said, "Well, you know what it is now." She goes, "Yeah, I'm never gonna go to the bathroom in the school ever again. I'm gonna go next door to the convenience store to go use the bathroom to use the facilities, but I'm never gonna go to use the facilities at school anymore." I said, "Well, when you gotta go, you gotta go." He goes, "Yeah, going to the convenience store." Yeah. It'd be great
Nope.
to investigate her because
So
she's
yeah,
not afraid to come out. She'll
Nope.
come out. She's not afraid to come out. She's a 14-year-old girl who died, who was killed by her mother. She's not afraid to come out. But yeah, it would be great to investigate her, but I don't know if we can get in there. That's the thing.
I, w- you know what? I'm a chicken when it comes to the
Mm.
paranormal. I'm not gonna lie. Uh, but I've done. So I've been to some of the most haunted places in the United States. I've been to Waverly.
Mm-hmm.
I've been to Penhurst. I've been to
Mm-hmm.
Eloise. I when I was at Waverly, I did a 30-minute solo in the dark in the
Mm-hmm.
body shoot.
Mm-hmm.
But and that was quite the experience. I'm not gonna lie, but like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could do that in Japan. I don't know if I could do
Oh,
that.
yeah.
we
I
don't have
mean,
any. We don't have mimics here. We don't have skinwalkers here. But one night, not too long ago, I was walking my dog at night, and the weirdest thing. So my dog has figured out where every dog in a neighborhood is. That's important for this because we also have a lot of Japan has a lot of stray cats. Fun
mm-hmm.
fact, I looked it up. There is more stray cats in Japan than there are people 16 and under.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked it up one day and that's what I found. I'm like, huh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I feel like every road has their own territorial couple of cats.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm walking my dog, and everywhere I go, like same distance, it doesn't make sense going through the neighborhood, especially because some of them have fences or just some of them the way they are, the layout. The same distance, I heard both what sounded this whatever this was that was following us went back and forth between it sounded like a sick cat, then right after that it sounded like a sick dog. Like it's trying to mimic the sound. It was weird because you know when you hear something where you're like, okay, this sounds like it's trying to be a sick dog, but there's something wrong. There's something off.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was. No matter where we went, it stayed the same distance, going back and forth on making this sound. I'm like, I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep going. It's like it's my house. I'm at my door.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know what it is because I know, like I said, my dog knows where every dog in this neighborhood is. So it wasn't one of the dogs. There's no way a dog and a cat would be hanging out together here.
Mm-hmm.
No. I'm
Once
I'm
you get
I'm
used to
afraid.
it, you're used to it. Once you get used to it, it doesn't bother you anymore. You just don't think about it. I don't. At least I don't. It
I'm
doesn't bother
afraid
me.
of skinwalkers. I'm afraid like one's gonna steal my skin and like
Luckily,
Oh,
we
they're
don't
not gonna
have
hurt
them.
you.
However, we do have 1,000 other urban legends that might
Yeah.
be just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
everybody's got something.
Majority of them here, they can shapeshift. Usually, shapeshift into a beautiful woman to try and trick
Yeah.
men.
Well, I don't want to take up more of your Saturday morning. I was going to say Friday night because it's Friday night for me. It's Saturday morning for you. Where can people find you? And when do your shows air?
You can find us on most streaming platforms. You can just look at Spooky Japan Podcast. But you'll also find us more up to date on what we're doing on the Spooky Japan Podcast page on Facebook. We also post more there about not just the paranormal of Japan and photos, but we also post a lot of photos of Japan. We also post a lot of the culture because we also try to educate on the culture besides the paranormal. So you can find a lot of that there, but we also, it's random when we go live just because we know here in Japan we have a different time zone, so it's more based on the availability of like guests and us. You can also find on Facebook when we plan on going live next and with who.
All right.
Or
Well,
you can find me
oh yeah.
on World of Ghosts and Paranormal Japan. That's my two huge group. You can join it. You can have fun. It's basically hardcore paranormal. I've got a lot of people from England, from all over the world, and yeah.
Well, I will have to go look that up when I get done here and join. But Irene and Amanda, I appreciate you coming on. I know,
Thanks for having us.
of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I was supposed to have you on back in September, and we had to
Mhm.
reschedule. So, just because I had to deal with a work thing, but yeah, no, I'm glad we were able to make this work. I'm now creeped out about a doll that's growing teeth. So there's that.
I can't wait till you message me saying, "Yeah, this thing visited me in my sleep, and I didn't even have to go see it."
It's gonna visit me in my dream. I already know it. I'm also throwing out all my daughter's dolls now, and anything that resembles a doll in this house, except the big demon doll, which is my wife. She's the prettiest demon I've ever met. No, she hates me calling her a demon. She says if I keep doing it, the only way people are going to talk to me is with a Ouija board. So, no, that's a joke. That's a joke. For legal purposes, that's a joke. No. Anyway, I really appreciate you coming on and scaring the shit out of me with a creepy doll. Yeah, it's like freaking me
Knuckle
out.
salt all over your body and put pink salt underneath your bed and pray to God you're alive tomorrow.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that? Come on. Come on. Where's my...
It's just a joke.
I'm gonna have to make some holy water. It's just normal water. You just gotta boil the hell out of it. Where's my sage? I need some sage. We're gonna that...
You need to bless
sage
up
don't work in
Cecil.
Japan.
That's what's gonna work on her.
Sage don't work in Japan, sorry.
Oh, I got some other stuff. I've got some white lightning moonshine. I'll burn it. Anyway, a kitty. I love Kitty. My cat just ran past. That's why I keep looking over, is because I like see stuff. And most of the time I think it's like my cats, but I've also seen stuff in my basement. So stories for other day. But
Paranormal investigators train ourselves. So you see any movement, look.
it's so like you get it. Like you guys get it, because like if it wasn't a paranormal investigator, you know, me looking off to something that's moving that shouldn't be moving, and it's not a cat.
You could always call me because I could help you with that too, you know.
No, nothing bothers me here. I'm not worried about anything. Like at this point, like if something's gonna take me, it's gonna take me. I at this point, like
Might be that doll in his dream.
yeah, it might be that doll in my dreams. I don't know. I'm going to bed here in like an
She's
hour.
not gonna bug you. She's not gonna hurt you.
Oh, it's fine. I'm not worried about her hurting me. It's haunting my dreams. You know, I like to sleep, so you know, I go into bed here in about an hour. So awesome.
Have a great snooze.
Nightmares. Anyway, Amanda, Irene, thank you. Go ahead, go follow them, and learn more about Japanese culture and how their ghosts seem to be better than and scarier than ours. So,
different.
And their dolls are legit, unlike Annabelle, that is not legit. So, anyway, you all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you.